So, Jackie, when high achieving women realize I've been making it work, but I haven't been whole, what is usually happening in that moment?
So I have to take you back, and I want you to answer that question for the audience, Dr. Natasha. I want you to think back to when we started having just simple conversations. And I want you to remember in this moment what you became aware of when we began to speak on, and specifically when we got to your father.
Hmm.
What did you become aware of?
Wow. What I became aware of was I thought that whatever he
Think
had going,
through that.
yes, I thought whatever he had going on, number one, I didn't understand why I was answering questions about him because he had not been in my life for all of my 18 years before going out to the military. I met him from what I can remember when I was about 18, almost 19 years old. So when you started to ask me questions about, that family, that side of the family, I was just confused. Like, what does he have to do with this? But what I realized was when I started unpacking some of the stories that I did know about him, what he went through as an oldest brother, what he went through, being raised by a mom who was a single mom, and I think she had might have had a step husband at the time. Um, some of those stories started to click when it came to rejection and abandonment, something that I would have never identified myself as being related to at all. Like those words just didn't fit in my world. And then I started to think about, some of the stories that his mom, my grandma, has shared with me, and getting to know her. And again, not that they would use those words or not that he would use those words or I would use those words, but those two words continue to come up as wait a minute, there's abandonment. And once again, there is rejection. To see that be something that even though I wouldn't relate to, but it was something that when you helped me to unpack what those words actually meant, rather than grace and mercy follow me all the days of my life, rejection and abandonment was a thing I constantly ran from. It was a thing that constantly triggered me and that constantly frustrated me, that would determine if I'm going to go into a friend relationship or not. If I sense that this person might reject or abandon me, I have one or two choices. I'm either just not going to get involved with you, or if you make me feel that at any point in the relationship, then I have to immediately cut you off because I can't deal with that. And before those conversations, before unpacking two people who I didn't even know before I turned 18 years old, I just would have never resonated with those terms.
So you became aware of two words that you never considered were not on your playlist of my life issues.
Not at all.
That awareness created a need in that moment.
Hmm.
It created a powerful need that those two areas, words have power, right?
Right, right.
Words literally have power. You discovered two words that had power in your life, although you only subconsciously realized that they existed
Right,
because they had to already be there for you to even come up with them. They had to
right,
exist within you.
right,
When they finally came up, you became aware, whoa,
right.
whoa, I have a need. And this need consists of some areas of pain that I never recognized before.
Hmm.
Now, all women all over the world from every type of existence must do this work if they're able to go on, especially if they plan to be high achieving and actually have a life once the goal of meeting whatever situation they want to meet when it's completed. Because when we don't do this work of discovery and discovering those words that exist within us that actually is a source of pain, we get to the end and we become bitter and not better.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
So the goal is The reason we're looking and hoping for someone to walk with us in this journey is the need to discover and become aware of what exists within us that
Wow.
causes us to bump up against the wall like a marathon runner, to hit the wall, to continue to hit the wall, although we're high achieving, successful everywhere but within our own selves.
One thing that is powerful about that, and you have me reflecting back to that very day, because I believe that was the biggest release that I didn't even realize I needed. And when I finally got to those words, there was something that you said, you have to be willing to touch it.
Yes.
And I didn't understand what you were meaning at the time. I understand now, as I reflect back, but there had to be a willingness to even touch it.
Yes.
And what was birthed out of that, being willing to touch it, was I realized that all of my succeeding and achieving was out of spite because of the pain.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm going to accomplish this to show
Yes.
you. I'm
Yes.
going to accomplish this to prove to you. I'm going to accomplish this because you're not going to tell me that I can't, do it. And so when I would reach, I realized the pattern that then created over years of real, every time I would come up against, like, oh, this is abandonment and rejection. This is that pain again, trying to unpack what my needs are, so what is the, solution for this? Um, I would get to these peaks and these pinnacles, and I would get to the top of the success, and I'm surrounded by success, but I can't even enjoy it.
Right.
I'm like,
Right.
okay, well, let's go to the next thing. I got that. I wait for a moment. I'm like, well, this is a letdown.
Cool.
All right,
Yes.
next.
Now, so,
On
so
to the next.
since you said that, let's talk about the greatest letdown. Where did the greatest letdown occur? Where did the greatest letdown occur? Think about it for a moment. So you're achieving, you're doing, you got the letdown, but really, where are you being let down? What area of your life? In your home. I'm gonna help you. In your home, you were surrounded by people who didn't quite get those two words you discovered.
Hmm. You're asking me, right? There's, are you,
Yes.
okay, you might have to help me, because I'm not quite sure
So,
where I can remember this very clearly. Number one, was when I got my PhD. I remember being surrounded by family and friends who, in my opinion,
there
this
you go.
is, I did this. My mama is sitting here. Her
Yes.
first child to ever do this. I'm sitting here
Yes.
with, my biological dad and his mom, I think I'm the first on that side, to do it. I'm sitting here with my kids. They see their mom doing it. I'm sitting here with my husband, his wife has done. I'm sitting here around, just surrounded by people who love me, care about me, um, showing them that, look at, what, what's possible. But as I'm sitting there,
But, uh-huh.
I'm like, why is everyone more happy? Everyone is happier than I am. And I was
Uh-huh.
very confused. I was very, very confused by that. And I'm like, is this it?
What were they missing? What do you believe that all this great family who's supporting you going, hurrah, what were they missing? They were missing information. What information were they missing? Those two words.
Abandonment and rejection.
That wound was still bright and red,
It
sitting on
was.
top of you, and they were not noticing
Hmm.
that though you had achieved the thing that you went after, what was not healed, you wanted them to help you heal in it. They
Hmm.
couldn't know, and you were not aware that that's what you needed. All
Right.
that's great, but oh my gosh, can't y'all see what I'm suffering
Right.
through? Can't you see that this is great, but don't you see this big red wound on me?
Wow.
I can see it, I can feel it. What's wrong with you guys? Why don't you get it?
Hmm.
All that's going on in a conversation in your head.
Right. Right.
that no one's aware of, including yourself.
So this is why, like, even I mean, that's honestly like a breakthrough sitting here, because I didn't realize that's the conversation that was going on in my head, but that was very much
Mhm.
what was happening. That wound was very bright red and very much real, and I can't say anything. No one would even understand it because no
They
one
would
would
not.
resonate with,
That's right.
they wouldn't
Because it's
resonate
not
with it.
their issue. It wasn't their issue to resonate with. It belonged to
Hmm.
you. And it was your responsibility to become aware and then actually work through the process of healing that wound, in which you did.
Hmm.
But you going back to that moment and recognizing, well, this is it. Okay, hurrah. It's
Right.
very empty because that pain is still existing. It's
Wow.
existing in your brain and it's having conversations in your head, and you're unaware that it's going on.
Wow.
And you're wanting something. You
Wow.
needed something. And what you needed was to be whole through the healing of that process.
Mm. To be whole through the healing.
Mhm.
To be whole through the healing. Okay. Why is, because I imagine some of the audience is going to have a very similar question. And you just unpacked this, but I want to go deeper right here. Why is that realization,
Mhm.
even now, as I'm saying this out loud and you're asking me, I wasn't expecting this.
Mhm.
But why is that realization so disruptive
Oof, good work.
for women who are used to being competent, capable, and unapologetically in control? Why is that realization so disruptive?
The one thing that we struggle with as high achieving women is saying that I am the issue. Yeah. See, it's so awesome that all the issues operate outside of us because we can touch it, fix it, show everybody, hey, this is how you get this done. Okay? This is how you overcome that. But within ourselves, we have not overcome small things because we refuse, and you said it, touch it. It has to be touched if we want to be healthy. Now, there are women who are high achieving, who have been successful, who've lived their life, and they refuse to touch it and they've died with it.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we get to choose. We all get a choice. But it's something about becoming whole through healing our own wounds that gives you a joy of life that's very different from the woman who does not heal. She really becomes bitter instead of better. On the
Mm-hmm.
outside, she looks much better. She looks better than you. She looks better than me. But on the inside, she is rotting with a wound that has existed from the beginning of time.
Mm-hmm.
And usually that woman is not in a relationship.
Tell us about that, please.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
It's impossible to be in a relationship, in a healthy relationship. Yeah, you can be in a relationship, the idea that maybe you're married and you both sleep in separate rooms. Some people have moved to different houses and saying, hey, that works for me.
Right.
The issue is you're wounded and it hasn't been healed. And that's the perspective you're okay with in a relationship. But when you move towards healthy relationships, and this does not have to be a spouse, this could be your own children that you're disconnected with and disconnected to. You can't relate to them. It is not the children, it's the wound within you. And when we're not aware of that wound and we do not do the work to become healed of that wound, we die with that wound disconnected, usually from relationships.
Hmm. And then I imagine, um, even in my case, that
Right.
being passed on to your
Absolutely.
children, that's something that's
Oh,
just being
absolutely.
passed on unknowingly, as you
Unknown.
specifically call out.
Mhm.
Okay, one thing that's coming to my mind that, again, as we are discussing the importance of having somebody alongside you as you're going through this journey,
Mhm.
um, it sounds like what's resonating with me is like there is a process of pain that you go through to go
Oh,
um, from hurting to being healthy,
uh-huh.
going to hurting to being whole. is that processing of pain or going through the process of journey of pain, is it inevitable if I want to get to healthy? Like, is there a way that I can just skip around it, take a shortcut?
Yes.
Is it inevitable? Um,
It is
for us?
totally inevitable to feel the pain. The process is painful in the beginning only, in the beginning, because it's painful to become aware that you've got an issue, that you've blamed spouses, children,
Everybody.
situations, jobs for, right?
Right.
You've blamed everybody. It's everybody,
Right.
right? It's certainly not you because you're not aware.
Exactly. Yeah.
And to make it clear, here's a simple picture. When your child falls, hurts themselves with a really, really big wound, the first thing they say is, Mom, don't touch it. Don't touch it, it's going to
Mm,
hurt, right?
wow.
And so when
Wow.
you first pull out whatever you're going to use on that wound, they're afraid for you to pour
Wow.
it, touch it right immediately.
Right.
And the immediate result of you pouring whatever or touching it with whatever is painful.
Wow.
But something happens after you get it all the way cleaned up.
Hmm.
That wound becomes fresh, and
Come on.
all the everything that was bad about it was wiped away, and
Wow.
it's covered.
Wow. Come
Listen,
on.
it's only
Come
covered for a
on.
season because for it to totally heal, it has to be
Come
uncovered.
on. Wow.
Once you uncover it, it can get air to it.
Wow. Come on.
And once the air gets to that wound, the skin goes back over, it heals over it
Wow. Wow.
every time. So in the beginning, touching that wound is very painful on the journey, right?
Mhm.
But it's more about fear. Psychologically, it's about the
Right.
fear of what is going to happen. What am I going to discover? What do I have to do once I get this information?
Mm.
It's not about what you do, it's about the conversation that you have to continue to have with yourself when that happens.
Mm.
It's not doing it, it is continuing the conversation.
Right.
So going through the journey, it is the idea of you taking those words, rejection and abandonment, and having those conversations in your head first.
Mm.
And then hopefully, prayerfully, you finding that person where you can be safe with and just actually talk through it. What we did for those years, you and
Right.
I,
Right.
was we had conversations so you can get out of your head what it felt like for you, what it looked like, what you didn't understand about it. You walk through that. And the more you walk through it, the more you watch the wound heal
Yo,
over.
come on. Wow. That um the biggest thing for me to learn through that entire journey, and that the audience has to take away if they don't take away anything else. What you were teaching me as a baby learning how to eat with a spoon
Mhm.
was, you were watching me in real time have the conversation in my head, and
Mhm.
you would stop patiently with me and you would say, tell me what you're thinking.
Mhm.
In my mind, I'm thinking, if you knew what I was thinking, I think you probably asked me to leave, okay? But you could, the power of the space that you created to help me without even saying it understand, you can trust me with this. Say what's in your head. Tell me what you're
Right.
thinking. There
So
it
to
is.
take in the unseen world, you was having a conversation about to take what was in the unseen world,
Yes,
finish that thought.
to take what was in an unseen world, my mind, and to bring it out in the open. And like you just said, we were
Oh,
looking at it from a 360.
that's
And you kept pulling out of me, what are the
mhm.
words? What is this? To be able to define what I'm up against. What it seemed that was the only way in order for me to actually deal with and process. And I
Mhm.
think we're in a world now where we have access to so much information. So I can go on TikTok, I can go on
Mhm.
Reels, I can go on Facebook, I can go on YouTube, a podcast, an article. I can go on
Mhm.
any medium and
Mhm.
uh, get some understanding mentally of what I'm dealing with. But I think
Yes.
the part that what I'm hearing you say is missing is us being able to legitly process it. And I don't think we know how to do that. We know how to take in information. We do not actually know how to seriously, realistically process that information. Am I following what you're saying?
You are absolutely following. That's why people like me exist.
Come on.
Because that is my job. That is my goal with you,
Mm,
for to walk with you through the process of it. What do you need to know about the words that you're using? What do you need to know about your perspective on the words that you're using? And the ultimate goal, here's what happened to you, and here's what happens to everyone that goes through the process and takes this journey, is that you change your expectations. You change your expectations of people, you change your expectations of yourself, that you were healed of the two words you came to understand from the beginning. Rejection and abandonment is not the wound anymore. Even
mm,
if you're triggered by it at some point, it is no longer a wound unhealed. And so your expectations can change now. You don't expect or even need people to meet that particular need anymore because it's healed.
wow.
And you're no longer using it against other people because the wound is healed.
Right.
And once you do that, you become hear these words, your best self.
Come, come on. Come on. Come on.
You became your best. You became confident without fear. You became, you understood yourself enough where you didn't need others to understand you. You were
Right.
clear on who you are and who you're becoming, and you're good with her.
Right.
And that is the ultimate goal, to touch the wound, to see the pain, to get to know, to become aware of something, to meet that person who walks with you through the journey. And the thing that you brought up, I created safety for you because that is the need. You have to find a person who is safe enough to receive your words, no matter what they look like, no matter what they feel like, because it isn't about you. It's not about the person who's doing the listening. It is totally about the person who needs to get the words out of their head.
Mm. When you powerful, when tell me about the high achieving women who come to you, who've
Yes.
accomplished it all, have done it all. They've realized there's something there. Maybe not put the words to it just yet, but they've realized there's something there that they need to resolve. And maybe they've tried multiple different things. They've tried EMDR. They've tried to go, to Mexico to a retreat and do some
Yep.
ayahuasca. They've tried.
Uh,
They've tried it all.
mhm.
Okay. They've even tried to open up the scriptures and flip through and land on something
Right.
to give them some sort of relief from what they still cannot put words to. When by the time they get to you, why, in saying from your expertise now, why is it so important for them to choose the right partner to help them walk through this journey? Why is it so evident to you, and you can stand 10 toes down um, on why it's so important for them to get this partner right to walk through this journey?
Yeah. Because connection is vital. If you cannot connect to the person that you're sitting with and talk, and each woman, and I could think of many over these 25 years, each woman, they always say this to me. I just connected to you. When you spoke and you told me about, when you said, I connected. And they will also say, I just didn't connect with this therapist, or I didn't connect with this group that I was meeting. I did not connect. Connection is key. Can you feel what I feel? The expectation on my part is that I feel what you're feeling in a way that makes you feel safe. Everybody does not do that. Oftentimes, and here's why I disconnect from the clinical side so much, because clinically speaking, we can sit and have words around every word that you want to talk about.
Right.
And clinically, I can be sitting in a room and totally disconnected from you, and I don't feel anything you're saying. Neither do I care. I
Mm.
have one goal to get you through this process. You pay me my money, and I move on to the next.
Right. Right.
In coaching, you want to be in the moment with that person so they can connect, so they feel the safety, and they're then challenged to open up in a vulnerable state that they're not willing to do with their own mothers.
Mm.
And when you become so vulnerable, you want to make sure this person is holding you,
Right.
not putting a hand up for you to get away.
Wow. Wow. Because I imagine that can do more harm than good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Research states that you ever, research talks about children who, where parents are so busy and they want to really be a part of their kid's life, but they're so busy and their brains are going, and the child runs up and the child says, Mommy, 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 or Dad, I really want to show you this. And the parent says, In a minute, and they turn their heads
Mm.
or they put a hand up.
Mm.
You talk about rejections, and that's what we experience sometimes, even when we go to therapists and counselors. When the person stops you and say, Yeah, maybe, but
Mm.
that's total pushback. That's no, I'm not going to deal with that. We don't have time for that. We're going to go and do this thing.
Mm.
But my goal is always for you to really stay in the moment that you're in and for you to work through that moment, feeling safe enough to touch all the wounds that we need to touch so you can heal enough to become your best self. But when you're rejected, when you are made to feel like this isn't important, that's not the problem. Although I may say that's not the problem, but I will take you to what the problem is so we can work through it and still keep you safe
Mm. Mm.
and not shut you down.
That,
So,
yeah, go
as I
ahead.
was saying about the children, though, children that grow up with that type of rejection really struggle in relationships also. And that could be your story
Mm.
that you do need to talk about and deal with.
Mm.
And that is a family or culture issue at times.
Right. Right. I love that you touched on, let me ask this. I'll take this part out of course. Do you have a hard stop at one?
No,
Okay. Okay.
hard stop at
So,
1:15. I got to go get the kids.
okay, perfect. Because I was just going to say 15 minutes. Okay. What I want to do is define this category clearly. So that'll be this segment.
Mhm,
So you just talked about, you know, uh, the clinical side and how it just comes off too cold and it
mhm.
misses that connection piece. And rightly so.
Well
That
said.
there's a space for the
That's
clinical
right.
piece.
That's
But
right.
coming into this coaching container, you bring that expertise
Mhm,
into that coaching container because you
mhm.
need to be able to connect.
Yes.
Um, so I would describe your work, you have described your work as clinically informed
Mhm,
executive coaching.
mhm,
What does that mean in plain language?
mhm.
Talk me through that.
What it means to me is that when you come into my office, into my space, I can become fully aware of what your clinical needs are, but yet discover how to meet your emotional needs so that if there's an issue that you need another level of care for, I can direct you and help you get there. At the same time, my goal in this particular office is to move you to a space of emotional health
Mm,
and growth.
mm. Which I think the work that you're doing is so powerful because as we talked about earlier, there's so many resources and so many places that someone can go out there.
Yes.
It's endless, and for any budget, any socioeconomic status, any background, there's something out there for you.
Yes.
But what you are describing that I think a lot of those groups are missing, and even the clinical side. So you have the more the side that appears to be more connection based,
Mhm,
and then the
mhm.
side that appears to be more clinically based. There's somewhere in the middle where you are meeting them that you are bringing the firepower and the foundation that's needed for the clinical to understand and meet someone where they are,
Mhm.
but then you on the other side you're bringing in this connection piece that is also needed in order to what you're saying get them to this emotionally healthiness. So
Yes.
if they're currently in a group where, you know, they're getting the connection and the camaraderie maybe that they need, the community that they need,
Right.
okay, you can continue to get that. If you're over here and you know you're going on the clinical side, maybe you know you have some psychiatric medicine that you're taking, you're
There you
going through
go.
some really deep therapy,
There you go.
those things are good. But there
There
is
you
a
go.
place right here where you're understanding a high achieving woman at a level to meet her where she is, to
Mhm.
say the things she cannot say in this community group over here because
There
they
you
won't
go.
understand, it might push them away, and that
Right.
she also cannot say over here because she's not getting the connection that she needs,
Right.
and that
Right.
clinical, you are
Right.
giving her a space to say, as you did for me,
Mhm.
I need you to get this out of your head, I need you
Yeah.
to process this, because what I'm understanding in this container is I do want to be emotionally healthy. I
Mhm.
do want to be whole again. I do
Mhm.
know that there's something there that you are helping me to understand as pain, and I want to go from hurt to healing. I don't want
Yeah.
to stay in that anymore, and I'm going to this next level, and I've just realized I cannot do this the way that I've always done it.
Mhm.
And you're helping me to do that. So thank you for sharing that. So this last piece that I want to let's see. Okay. I love this. I love this part. I know that many women experience also resistance to this type of work, because what
Yeah.
I imagine that we immediately think, and I'll just speak for my own self,
Yeah.
I have things to do. I got kids to take care of. I have a business that I'm running. I have, you know, somewhere where I'm volunteering. I have a whole lot of things going on. You want
Yeah.
me to
Yeah.
just stop for a moment to come and just
Yeah.
sit and talk? And so what has been from your expertise
Mhm.
and your 25 plus years of experience, why do high achieving women delay in getting this level of support?
Yeah. Well, you talked about a lot of it. You got a lot of life.
Mm,
But let me go back to you specifically.
mm,
Sometimes we're unaware that people have showed up in our lives for a reason and a
mm,
season. You were very unaware I had come into your life for this reason and this season, right? So most of my clients, I do meet that way. You
mm,
know, literally indirectly, someone will either say, hey, just go have this conversation with this lady named Jackie Hatcher, right?
mm,
It's just a simple thing, right? And they're unaware, like, why would I need to have this conversation? And it's interesting how they'll call, have the conversation, come in to see me and go, I want to come back next week.
mm,
Just a big part of that is just unawareness. And then we move to the space of shame. So we don't want to deal with the shame based part of it because I have some high achieving women that really have some hurtful past experiences that's brought about a lot of shame. And again, my greatest job is to create safety so you can be vulnerable enough to know that this information is gathered only for the fact of moving you forward, not to judge, not even to fix right here, but to move you forward. How do we get this healed so you can become your best self?
mm, mm. That I think leads me into, because you've mentioned best self quite a bit right now. It sounds like the being willing to go through the process of the pain,
Mm,
processing the pain,
yes.
going from this hurting to this world of healing and wholeness.
Yes.
That all of that sounds like the journey, because one thing that you said in our past conversations
Mhm.
and our other episodes, so we encourage the audience to go and watch those,
Mhm.
is healing is not the end goal. That's the process, that's the journey. Purpose is. And
Purpose.
it, do I have it right in what you have found in your expertise? If I'm not willing to go through this process, it may be very difficult for me to actually land on true purpose
Oh yeah,
and why
it's
I'm
not
here.
possible. Yeah, it's
Mm,
totally impossible for you to be unwilling and actually get through the process. Yeah, that will not work. I do lose women from time to time because they're unwilling. And the first thing I say, the first thing I say to you, thank you for coming in. Are you willing to do the hard work? If you are unwilling to do the hard work, understand me, I'm not willing to make an effort
Mm.
because the work is important for you. And if you didn't come to me to do what's hard, I'm not the right person for you. And that's how one of the ways we discover we're not going to connect. If you only come to complain about your husband and your children, that won't work with me because you're in here with me because there's something within you. And so when we get to that part and you say, yes, I want to do the hard work, I've been through EMDR, I've done all of this, I've been to psychiatrists, I've done all of that. I need someone to help me figure out what's in my head. Okay, you're at the right place
Right.
because we're going to deal with your head. But if you're unwilling to touch the wound,
Mm.
there's no process for that.
Wow.
There
Wow.
is no process for that.
Which goes back to, in our previous episodes where you said, when you know who you are
Hmm.
and you walk into a space, that room has to shift. That environment has to shift. And when it does, it benefits everybody in the room. And what I
Yeah.
hear you saying is if they're, by the time a high achieving woman comes to you, there's only one of two ways this is going to work. And
Mhm.
it is if you're willing to touch it, to go through this process, it will happen
Mhm.
and you will get to purpose. If you are not willing to do that, then you may need to find your next therapist, your next psychiatrist, your next, new fad therapy that's
So
out there.
your next book,
Your next
whatever.
book, exactly. So the last question that I will ask you to leave our audience with is what then would you say to the woman, because that's who we're talking to, women who has landed with and she has stayed with us through this entire episode, but what would you say to the woman who is successful enough to know that she cannot keep achieving her way
Mm.
around the wound?
Ooh. That's a good question. That's a really good question. I don't think I would say much of anything. And here's the reason why. Because the woman who's unaware and unwilling to touch it is a woman who's not going to hear anything from me.
Hmm. Hmm.
And so, because I know who I am and what I've been called to, my God call is to help those that are sent to me. And you decide, yeah, I don't want to do that. I respect it so much. And I say, here's what I say to them: I respect you so much, and I'm going to honor you by allowing you to live out this life the way you need to live it out.
Hmm.
But if you ever become aware of something that you really want to work through, then please give me a call
Wow.
because I can't fix it for them. Neither can I make them become aware.
Hmm.
Awareness has to happen for you.
Hmm.
I can't cause it to happen. And you're very unaware that that wound needs to be healed. And until you become aware of it, there's not. When we started our conversations, Dr. NaTasha, it wasn't me saying, you've got a problem.
That's
I
right.
never
That's
once
right.
saying there's an issue. We
That's
literally
right.
just start having conversations. I start with most people, except I say there's some work you need to do.
That's right.
And then you start asking yourself questions. Well, what work is going on in me? And so when you start asking the questions, that's when we got into the tough stuff. You start
Right.
asking questions of yourself.
Right. That is right. Yeah.
And so as you begin that way, you're able to get to healing.
Hmm.
And it is a hard thing to live a whole life and never deal with a wound.
Hmm.
It is a really tough life to live.
Hmm.
So I would say that.
Thank you so much. Because what I hear in all of this is there is a world where you don't have to live out a life from that wound. There is a world where you can actually be free. There is a world where this pain doesn't have to be a badge of honor and we just accept that, well, this is just the life I've been called to live. And you and I both know, I not Zoe, right?
Find
Like
a
we
way.
both know
Find life.
that
Yeah,
there is a life that God has called us to,
absolutely.
lived inside of, from, around. I mean, we could think of all the prepositions.
Hmm.
Um, and that life looks like a life that is attached to Him. And
Hmm.
when we decide, from what I hear you saying as part of that process, to touch that pain, to go through the process of the pain, which is only in the beginning, because I think we think it's just
Oh,
in a, it's just a life, that
the
we're
pain.
just
No.
destined to live. But to be willing to go through that process and go from a place of being hurt to heal and whole,
Mhm.
and to finally get to that purpose, that's what I want. If I went back, I don't regret any of it.
Mhm.
You continue to tell me it's going to take you some time, it's going to take you a couple of years, and if I look back, there may have been a time where it could have been shorter if I wasn't so stubborn.
Yes, yes, yes,
If
yes,
I
yes.
wasn't so
Yes, 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 yes. That is everyone. That's each woman that comes. It's a process. It's a process to see it because you're high achieving. So
yeah.
to see something that's like that about yourself is like, whoa, wait a minute. I'm not. Hold on, wait a minute. No, it's not me.
Okay, Jackie, this has been amazing. Thank you so much for joining once again in these conversations. I cannot get enough of these, and I know our audience can't either. We want you all to go back and watch the other episodes, because you are going to pick up what we have covered along this journey. And we want you, as Jackie has said multiple times, start asking yourself questions, and we want to hear what those questions are. So until next time, thank you so much.
Thank you.